Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is the second session of the third and last day of the Nexus conference. It's been a very enriching experience for all of us, and I look forward to having another great session and another great day. I am Dr. Burhanu Dammaka, and I will be moderating this session. I'll help you introduce your presentation and coordinate your technical needs, supported by our wonderful team working behind the scenes, for whom we are very, very grateful. I will also manage your time, help you manage your time by start setting a timer for 15 minutes and letting you know 3 minutes before the end of your session. I encourage all attendees to submit your questions in the Q&A box throughout the session. Okay, this session is on the sub-theme of resilience in technology and innovation. And I will now invite the presenter to introduce yourself in the language of your country of birth. The title is AI Transparency and Explainability as Drivers of Consumer Trust in Digital Platforms. Take it away.
Uh, very good evening to everyone present here. My name is Kumari Shilpi, and I am presenting my slide and I'm presenting my RP research from India, from New Delhi. And this, my topic AI transparency and explainability as drivers of consumer trust in digital platform. And I just want to apologize as well because my throat is actually a little bit, infected because of the pollution, I guess. So, am I audible to everyone? Am I
Yes, you
audible?
are.
Ah, okay. Currently, actually, I am associated with one of the college, Asian Business School, as an assistant professor, and I'm also a PhD scholar in Amity University, Gurugram. And why I chose this topic basically because of the new trend which is basically going on as artificial intelligence is basically indulged in each and every basically we can say the mode. Either it's a kind of we can say either it's a acrobat, either it's a marketing, either it's economics, each and every area AI is basically there. But if we are talking about the consumer trust, it is still a very big question that do the AI is the people are believing on it or not. So with by this topic, I just want to basically conclude with this that although with my research I found that AI transparency is uh, alone is extreme. It is obvious. It is basically providing us the consumer trust, and I basically use explainability as a mediator and user resilience as the moderator. So, please, next slide. Okay, so the context of the study is that with the the AI is basically now it is integrated in our daily life and organizational process. It is providing extreme benefits and concern with the persist about the opacity and bias and interpretability in the AI decision making. But still, there is a lack of transparency and explainability which undermines the consumer trust in AI driven platforms. So, AI transparency, although help us to understand how the data is basically collected, processed, and used for making the final decision in the organization and businesses, so AI explainability basically makes complex algorithm understandable in a comprehensive way, as well as it is bridging a gap between the technical logic and human comprehension. For this, I use two theories, and the one theory is all about the trust calibration theory, which is basically propounded by Lake and Sek in 2004, and it explains how users align their trust with the system reliability. Please, next slide. The second theory is all about the human centered explainable AI, and it is basically used by the Ehsan et al. In 2021, which basically emphasize and which is telling us the socially meaningful and the user oriented explanation. It is making a link between the technology and how the humans are taking it as, and how humans are perceiving it. The next one is about the user resilience, which I had taken as a moderator, in which I use the three constructs, which is cognitive, behavioral, and affective adaptability, which helps the user to maintain the trust and the AI uncertainties. So overall, we can say that this study is basically more or less is beneficial in the future, because we are now basically moving toward to the digital world, as well as it is basically giving us the wide range of we can say the AI dependency, which is basically increasing. And for this study, I had used cross sectional survey, and I used 160 responded for the same, and that is they are from the IT professionals. And what is the basically overall aim for the study is to explore how AI transparency, explainability, and the user resilience collectively shape the consumer trust in the digital platform. Next slide, sir. Overall, if we'll see the relevance of the study, so definitely growing dependence on the AI for making the decision making, basically, it required trustworthiness, because everyone cannot rely on the technology because of so many reasons. There is a security reason, there is a risk. So, how the transparency and explainability basically help to develop the, or basically make believe the consumers and able to gain the trust overall. And despite there are so many technological advancement, still the users, or we can say the consumers even, still the face of the trust deficits, obviously because of the dependency on the technology, security reasons, cyber attacks are extremely high, server, internet requirement. And this study basically bridged the gap between the overall technically transparency, human understanding, and overall aligning with the global efforts for the ethical and responsible AI. Next slide, sir. So, by integrating these two theories, that is the trust calibration theory and the human centered explainable AI, it overall basically contribute the deeper understanding of how users or lose trust in the AI systems. And the inclusion of the user resilience basically provides the psychological and the cognitive part, as well as the behavioral perspective, which shows how user adaptability basically affects the trust. And the finding will basically give us that the AI developers, the policymakers, and the organizations in designing the transparency, explainability, and the human-centered AI system. So basically it support the broader goal of promoting the AI adoptions, user confidence, and sustainable digital transformation. Next slide. So for the same, for the study, I had taken five objective, and the very first objective is to examine how the AI transparency influence the consumer trust in AI system and digital platforms. And the second objective is to analyze the mediating effects of the AI explainability in the relationship between the AI transparency and the consumer trust. The third objective is to assess the role of the user resilience, obviously, the three construct cognitive, behavioral, and affective, in shaping the user confidence toward the AI system, and to evaluate how the dimension of the AI transparency data process. Here in the AI transparency, although there are three constructs, that is the data, process, and outcome, how it contribute to perceived AI explainability. And the last objective is to investigate the integrated impact of the AI transparency, AI explainability, and user resilience on the consumer trust. Next slide. The research methodology which I used for the study, that is obviously the quantitative and the cross-sectional survey design. The deductive approach is basically used for predefined hypothesis, and also to focus on the relationship among the AI transparency, AI explainability, user resilience, and the consumer trust. And these four I also taken as the keyword for my study. The target population I had used basically the IT sector employees who are basically working with the AI systems and the technology, and select I also basically selected due to the obviously the direct interactions and familiarity, or basically people are known with the AI based technologies. Next slide. The sampling technique and size, obviously the non-probability and convenience sampling, or we can say actually rather than convenience sampling, it's a purposive sampling. The sample size is little less, and it is around 160 respondent from the various IT organization. The data collection method is used uh, as a questionnaire, online questionnaire, and it is distributed via using the mail and the LinkedIn, and the self-administrated survey with the little bit self-administrated survey with the participant consent. And I also did some pilot tested with the 15 respondent for the clarity and reliability. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. So basically, the variability, measurement of variability. So I had taken in AI transparency the three subdimensions or the construct, that is data, process, and outcome. Six items I had taken for the same, and for the AI explainability, three types, that is also global, local, and interactive. User resilience, three construct, actually the cognitive, behavioral, affective. And for the consumer trust, I had taken the two items, that is the trust in the AI system and trust in platform. I use the Likert scale 5.2, that is from the strongly, the one is the strongly disagree to five is the strongly agree. Next slide. Okay, with the I had taken five hypotheses like the AI transparency have the direct effect, the positive influence to the consumer trust, and the second hypothesis is about that there is a mediating effect. AI explainability mediates the transparency with the trust link, and the third hypothesis is user resilience, and with the consumer trust, the positive influence I had got, and the transparency subdimension explainability, it is significant contributing, and transparency explainability and resilience collectively basically directly affecting the consumer trust. Next slide. Okay, so data analysis tool and techniques I had used, that is SPSS and Python. And in the descriptive statistics, I use the mean and the standard deviation and frequency. The correlation analysis I did for the same, and for the hypothesis one. And for regression analysis is basically used for hypothesis third and hypothesis five. And mediation analysis is basically used for hypothesis second, and subdimensional regression is basically overall it is hypothesis 4. So overall the significant level is basically obviously probability, which is lesser than 0.05. Next slide, please. And the reliability and validity, which I basically reliability and validity, which is basically used for the same, and the Cronbach alpha is basically used to understand the reliability of the questionnaires, and the expert validations for the content validity, and basically the EFA, the exploratory factor analysis, is used for the construct validity, and definitely pilot tested is used. There is a proper ethical consideration is also keep in our mind, and we basically use that the institutional ethical approval obtained, and consent of the participant was also there, and we are basically maintaining, I am also maintaining the confidentiality, and the data basically used only for definitely for the academic purpose, so that is also keep in our mind. Next slide. So this is what the conceptual framework is. Basically, here we are taking the AI transparency. which have a link with the AI explainability, and the AI explainability is basically obviously showing the direct effect with the consumer trust, and the AI explainability is have some effect. Yeah, it is also affecting the user resilient, and that is hypothesis 3. And basically we can say that this conceptual framework is basically from my study, which is showing somehow that the user resilience is also affecting the consumer trust. Next slide, please. It's not visible. Just give me a second, ma'am. Uh, okay, so basically, with this tabular explanation, okay, so it's a tabular representation of the same that the basically the research design is used, what it is used, that is explained in the very first one, research design. The second one is about the participant, which I already explained about the same. Construct is already explained. The correlation analysis, basically the Pearson correlation is used, and in which the regression is 0.85. And obviously, it shows the positive correlation between the AI transparency and the consumer trust. The mediation analysis, basically it shows the AI transparent. It basically it is also supporting the hypothesis second, and the AI explainability is partially basically mediates the relationship between the AI transparency and the consumer trust. Then in the regression analysis, it shows that the beta is 0.22 and the probability is
That
less than
note is, you
0.001.
have a you have a couple of minutes to wrap up.
Yeah, sure, sure, sir, sure,
Don't
sir.
feel too rushed, but you have a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Okay. So, in regression analysis, it shows a simple regression is used for the user resilience and the consumer trust. So, definitely, it is supported the hypothesis third, and the user resilience also shows a significant and positive influence on the consumer trust. The multiple regression is basically used for hypothesis 5, and it is also supported. And the basically all the three predictors basically jointly contribute to the consumer trust: the AI transparency, AI explainability, user resilience. And the very last one, where the subdimensional analysis is done for understanding the AI explainability. So here the data and process transparency significantly contribute to the AI explainability. Although H4 basically, or hypothesis 4, is supported partially. So overall we can say that the overall summary shows that this model is somehow the hypotheses are basically satisfied, and all are basically properly supported. Uh, and the we can say the practical implication shows that we should encourage the transparency and explainability and the user centric AI design to overall enhance the user confidence. So this please next slide. So overall theoretical implication for the same is that the integration of transparency, explainability, and trust, basically it demonstrates that transparency alone is insufficient, although the explainability is also required. But overall, it support the transparency, explainability, and the user resilience. Overall, supports the consumer trust. Explainability as a mediator is basically making a bridge gap between the transparency trust by enhancing the user cognitive or learning or understanding comprehensively. And the user resilience basically highlights in the all three construct: the cognitive, behavioral, and emotional significantly influence the trust in the AI system. as well as in the sub-dimension of basically the transparency. It revealed that the data and the process transparency basically play a very great or important role than outcome transparency. And the comprehensive AI trust model, it basically proposes an integrated framework that combines the transparency, explainability, resilience as the key determinants of the consumer trust in AI. Next slide, please. So practical implication, if we'll see for the AI developers, so whenever it's about the designing the AI system, that should be required to be transparent and easy to use, user friendly, and provide a clear explanation about the improved understanding the trust, because there is a behavioral and psychological pattern in the humans that they are obviously the adoption is not easy if it is about the technology. And for the organization, definitely the communication, the AI process openly includes the training or user guide to enhance the user confidence and reduce the skepticism, or we can say the reduce the dilemmatic situation.
Sorry,
And
Kumari. Can you wrap up in about a minute?
yes, sure, sir.
Thank you.
For policymakers and regulators, we require to enforce the standards, regulations. Although in India there is a IT Act which is already there in 2000, which came in 2000, and amendments was made in 2021. So it is required to maintain or enforce the standard for the AI transparency, explainability to ensure the accountability and the ethical compliances. And we also require to promote the digital literacy and resilience training. So there should be easy for the user to adapt and build trust in the AI technology. Next slide, please. So, overall conclusion, the study overall investigating the interrelationship between the AI transparency, AI explainability, user resilient, and consumer trust. So, the result confirmed that AI transparency significantly enhanced the consumer trust, and AI explainability work as a key mediator to understanding and for confidence. And user resilience also positively influenced the trust and reinforcing the psychological dimension of human AI. And among the sub dimension of transparency, we can say among with the three sub dimensions or the construct, the data and process transparency are found to be meaningful to contribute to the explainability. Okay, next slide. So thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation.
Thank you
A
so
lot,
much, sir.
a lot to think about. Okay, and now we'll go to the next presentation, which is a video, and we will run that video as soon as it's ready. It's entitled Caste, Class, and Combustion: Social Justice and Resilience Implications of Indoor Air Pollution in India.
I am
Thank you. Let's go. Thank you.
Dr. Demeke. That is not the correct video. The upcoming video is Boosting Stem Cell Resilience via Digital Tools by Dr. Montesser.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, thank you for the correction, Danny. Appreciate it. Or is it Michelle? Okay, let's run the video. Thanks.
Dr. Leila Mahmoud Muntasser, Professor of Clinical Pathology, Chair, Stem Cell Regenerative Medicine, Nanotechnology and Tissue Engineering Research Group, inaugural holder of the first chair, Faculty of Medicine, Menofia University, Egypt. The title of my presentation is Boosting Stem Cell Resilience via Digital Tools. Winner of award of the Order of Virtues in the left of the speaker's photo, to outstanding student for excellence in science, ethics, and talent of drawing on Egyptian Flag Day. The winner of 1986, 1998, 2002, and 2024 awards of Ideal Doctor and Ideal Professor from the Egyptian and Menofia Medical Syndicates. on 2024 honored the Golden Child of Ideal Professor from Menofia Medical Syndicate in the right of the speaker's photo. On 2024 honored on the 7th conference of her Department of Clinical Pathology Certificate of Thanks and Appreciation on the occasion of her valuable contribution as a speaker and chairperson, and also a Crystal Scientific Excellence Shield for her excellence in science and in recognition of an eminent university professor. Winner of 2 certificates of publication in honor of the author's great work. For all these reasons, on December 2023, honored on the Menofia University's 47th annual anniversary, a certificate of thanks and appreciation on the occasion of her publishing series of internationally published researches since the start of the COVID-19 crisis and until now, where she was awarded 57 certificates of appreciation for her achievement in successfully presenting 60 international conferences and symposia, and her participation in chairing 3 conferences international. Outline. I will start with summary of my presentation, then synopsis draws on some of my deep expertise in the domain of regenerative medicine with the application of innovative technologies. And lastly, conclusion. Summary of the study titled Boosting Stem Cell Resilience via Digital Tools, presented at Nexus Interdisciplinary 2025, November, from 21 to 23, City University, Vancouver, Canada. The world is evolving rapidly, and it will change even faster in the future, driven by long-term advances in digital technologies and sciences. Stem cells represent a new frontier for regenerative medicine. Stem cells are able to undergo self-renewal and differentiation. So, stem cell-based therapy has emerged as a new subspecialty in medicine. The analysis of induced pluripotent stem cell-derived colonies through manual identification is time-consuming, error-prone, and training-dependent. Thus, an automated instrument for the analysis of induced pluripotent stem cell colonies is needed. Recently, AI has emerged as a novel, innovative technology to tackle this challenge. The manufacturing of stem cells can be augmented through mechanization and automation. Several approaches can be employed in this situation, including the implementation of automated cell culture platforms consisting of robotic and AI algorithms to enable massive cell production and improve technical precision, reproducibility, and productivity. Besides, resilience in the digital future of stem cell technology involves using digital tools to improve stem cell therapies and make them more robust, addressing challenges like aging, disease, and the complexities of 3D bioprinting and AI-driven drug discovery. It encompasses creating resilient stem cells through digital insights like metabolic reprogramming and developing digital systems for manufacturing, tracking, and analyzing cell therapies to enhance their safety, efficacy, and scalability. Digital tools are helping to overcome challenges in 3D bioprinting, which is crucial for creating functional, resilient tissue grafts. These technologies enable the creation of complex structures that mimic natural tissues and can be used for testing new therapies. Resilient stem cells and AI will make an excellent partnership for the healthcare system in the near future. Brief summary of the paper titled Leveraging 3D Cell Culture and AI Technologies for Tissue Engineering, published in 2025 in International Journal, awarded a certificate of appreciation in honor of the author's great work. Regenerative medicine and tissue engineering hold great potential to enhance patient treatment and accelerate recovery. They face challenges like trial and error, inefficient production, lengthy processes, and excessive human involvement that can lead to mistakes. Solutions to these issues may be found through the application of AI, automation, and robotic technologies. AI-enabled robotic systems have transformed surgical procedures, increasing both precision and results. Also, AI enhances administrative efficiency and workflow processes in healthcare, optimizing operations and cutting costs. The objective was to fulfill our mission by implementing awareness and educational initiatives in the domain of regenerative medicine production, while also showcasing how AI and automation, combined with robotics, can transform conventional tissue engineering and regenerative medicine approaches, offering renewed hope to patients. Regenerative medicine combines modern bioengineering technologies, mainly involving stem cell technology, gene engineering, biomaterials, tissue engineering, and computer science. Brief summary of my presentation at Third Global Summit on Electronics and Electrical Engineering 2023, October from 26 to 28, Barcelona, Spain, entitled Robotics and Automation in Regenerative Medicine. One of the goals of regenerative medicine is to produce differentiated cells in the laboratory that can be used to heal tissues. Cell-based therapeutics has the potential to treat a vast number of diseases, but their availability has been limited because they are often very difficult to manufacture. pluripotent stem cells are an extremely powerful tool in modeling human diseases and hold much promise for personalized regenerative or cell replacement therapies. There is an increasing need for reproducible large-scale stem cell and differentiated progeny production with minimal variation, rendering manual approaches impracticable. With the merging of modern technology and stem cell biology, an increased demand and implementation of automated platforms for stem cell studies is anticipated. Recently, advanced imaging techniques have improved the reproducibility of the cell culture protocols used for the manufacture of cells in regenerative medicine. This suggests that further minimizing human error and variability could also greatly improve the manufacturing process. One way to do this would be to mechanize and automate the cell culture procedures. An automated platform for cell culture combines robotics and artificial intelligence to optimize cell culture protocols and reliably produce specific cell types that could be used for regenerative medicine treatments. Conclusion. The unique properties of mesenchymal stem cells, namely self-renewal and differentiation, combined with the use of appropriate induction of factors and scaffolds, make them a promising cell source for regenerative medicine and tissue engineering applications. AI-driven methods have emerged as an important component of stem cell research. AI and stem cell medicine are poised to revolutionize healthcare by offering groundbreaking solutions for previously untreatable conditions. In the digital future of stem cell technology, resilience refers to the use of digital technologies to enhance and strengthen stem cell therapies in order to tackle issues such as aging, disease, the complexities of 3D by printing, and AI-driven drug development. In order to improve the safety, effectiveness, and scalability of cell therapies, it includes establishing digital systems for manufacturing, monitoring, and analyzing them, as well as producing resilient stem cells using digital insights, such as metabolic reprogramming, in order to create tissue grafts that are robust and functional. 3D by printing presents problems that are being addressed with the aid of digital tools. These technologies make it possible to create intricate structures that resembles real tissues and can be applied to the testing of novel treatments. Research scientists, physicians, educators, and students interested in applying AI-based technologies to stem cell biology and biomedical applications are the target audience for this work. In the near future, the healthcare system will benefit greatly from the combination of AI and resilient stem cells. Take-home message. In futuristic operating room, surgeon and robot partnership, AI will not replace physicians. However, physicians who use AI will replace those who don't. Thank you.
Dr. Demeke, we
Thank
can't
you.
hear you.
Thank you very much. I was just thank you very much. We will go to the next presentation now. Our presenter is on hand. Please go ahead. I'll just introduce your title. Tensions between entrepreneurial orientation and organizational resilience. A systematic literature review. Please introduce yourself and go ahead with the presentations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. My name is Hoa. Recently, I am the PhD candidate at University of Economics in Katowice, Poland. Thanks for giving me a chance to present my research topic. It's about tension between entrepreneurial orientations and organizational resilience, a systematic literature review. So before I'm going to my presentation, may I know, can you guys see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Thank
You're
you.
good.
So what am I going to present today? First of all, I would like to discuss, to introduce about the theoretical context, following by research problem, research aim, research question, and the methodology that I'm using. And then I will be touched about the conceptual model. Before going to the final conclusion, I would like to provide some expected discussion and contribution from my ongoing research paper. So uh, for the theoretical context, about entrepreneurial orientation, or in the short form we call it EO, it includes the risk-taking, innovativeness, proactiveness that follow very classic definition or the findings from Corbin and Slavin in year 1989. So nowadays we have more update, but I would like to introduce the classic definitions from that working. So the conceptual EO is at the behavioral tendency that enable organizations to pursue a new opportunity aggressively and adapt dynamically to environmental changes. Within the research and the findings underscore the importance of entrepreneurial behavior, such as innovation and risk-taking across a different environmental contexts. However, they also suggest and provide some cautions, like if the company they have too much access the EO, is particularly in hostile or uncertain environment, it could expose the firm to a higher vulnerability if not aligned with the strategic control and social and the resource stability. So after the EO, we are talking about the organizational resilience. It's about adaptive capability, recovery, and robustness. We take the main paper. We base on the main paper in year 2020 from Vera and Crossan, resilience is not merely as recovery after the adversity, but as the thriving through the adaptive learning and positive leadership. It's also argued that the resilience emerges when organizations foster the psychological safety, reflections, and collective sense making. And resilience, in the discussion, it allows the company to balance the short-term adaptability with a long-term stability, providing a useful counterpoint to EO risk-centric tendency. So between the EO and organizational resilience, there are the paradox that EOs can promote the innovation, but yet it's also undermine the resilience. So, with the with that paradox, we also find out that there are some research problem. Sorry, from the research problems here, most of the EO study emphasize on the positive outcome of the company. Maybe, for example, they can increase the company performance, and limited understanding that EO's dark side and tension with the stability. So therefore, we need to synthesize the evidence on EO and resilient organizational resilient relationship. This will be taken and discussed through my research paper. And the aim for this is to synthesize the empirical and conceptual evidence within 10 years within 10 years. And also, within the paper, we also intend to identify the mechanism and moderator linking between EO to resilience outcome. And we start because the main research, the main method in this, I use the qualitative research method. So I create some research question like how does the EO influence the organizational resilience? And the second question will be under what condition does the EO will enhance or weakness the resilience stability? And the last one will be the what mechanism explain EO's dark side. And as I mentioned earlier on, I'm mainly using the qualitative research method. That is using the database from Scopus within the 10 years, include the journal English with the keyword for EO and resilience focus. And initially, when I hit the keyword, is have over 100 article. Quick screening is to 67 article, and when I do another screening from the abstract, now I have the 42 article, and this is the main database that I'm using to analyze within my research paper. So what is the conceptual model that I would like to discuss in this paper? For the core, we're looking at the core dimension of EO, which include the risk-taking, innovativeness, and proactiveness. Risk-taking, it represents the company's willingness to allocate resources toward the uncertainty opportunity, and innovativeness is stimulates the experimentation and creativity that enhance adaptability. However, under restraint, innovation without assertive learning can create the operational chaos and resources strain. And proactiveness is more emphasizing the anticipatory actions and forward-looking strategies that prepare the business for the potential disruption. And I'm also looking at the mechanism and also the moderator. So for the mechanism, we're looking at the resources and cognitive bias. Resources in the means that it will act as the protective buffer that observes shock from the risky venture that the firm with the adequate availabilities can sustain the innovation. And cognitive bias is somehow we can understand it, maybe it's overconfidence or optimism. It will be mediate the decision making, kind of entrepreneurial leadership may underestimate risk or overestimate the resilience, leads to the fragile outcomes despite the high entrepreneurial orientation. So for the moderating factor, we are looking at the leadership style, organizational learning, and conceptual conditions. Leadership style is as we going to discuss that if we moderate how EO translate into the resilience, reflective, and empower leaders to encourage the sense making and learning, turned EO into adaptive strength. Autocratic or short-term focused leader amplify a fragility. Organizational learning will determine whether the firm internalize feedback and refine routings, balance explorations with the exploitation, which that will be the two main different points we discuss in this. And for the contextual condition, like shows it the market turbulence or the change in the digital market or the firm size, it will shaft the EO's impact. In the dynamic market, EO will foster the resilience, and in the resource constraints context, it may heighten the vulnerability. And before going to the conclusion, we would like to have some discussion that EO is paradoxical. It can be understood if we have flow, innovation, and agility, but many stringer instability when it's unchecked. And governance and also leadership also affects to that if we are reflective, learning-oriented leadership stabilize EO outcomes through the strategic oversight and adaptive learning. And we're also looking at the core insight, which means that resilience emerges not from the avoiding risk, but from the disciplining entrepreneurial energy through the mindful leadership. I mean, the leader who have forcing for the market in the parallel with the outcome from the company, and also the organizational learning. And sustainable firm integrate exploration, which include innovation and risk taken, with the exploitation, with efficiency and stability. And what we expect is that can have the conclusion, can have the contributions from this research. We would like to print the integrated EO resilience and organizational learning theory to explain how the firm navigates uncertainty and stability. Reviews dynamic mechanism, like, for example, leadership cognition, learning routines, or contact moderation. Thus, will help to shape the EO resilient trade-offs. Develop the leadership awareness of cognitive biases, especially in terms of overconfidence and optimism that may distort risk evaluation. And continue with the promote the reflective learning culture to ensure that entrepreneurial agility contribute to a long-term organizational stability. So in the conclusion, we like to have the EO and resilient the tension. We think that will capture a defining challenge of modern organizational adaptation. I mean, how the firm will innovate boldly while preserving stability. The second one will be the sustainability lies on the balance,
You
not
have 3 minutes
intensity.
remaining.
Yes. Intensity, entrepreneurial success depends on the calibrating innovation ambition with resilient structures and mindful leadership. The last but not least is organizational that harmonize risk-taking, learning, and governance, transform EO from the potential vulnerability into strategic sources of adaptive strength. And that's all for my presentation. This is the reference I'm using, and thank you very much for your listening.
Excellent. Thank you very much for this presentation. We will now go to the next presentation entitled Caste, Class, and Combustion. social justice and resilience implications for indoor air pollution in India. And it's a video recording which we will play right now. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Anurag and today I will be presenting my paper on caste, class and combustion, social justice and resilience implications of indoor air pollution in India. Let's talk about the research design that we have. In our research design, we have research gaps that we studied about the caste gap, that they are limited and various caste-based disparities and resilience in indoor air pollution exposure. There are sustainability gaps that not a lot of studies have been done in a long-term fuel adoption, clean fuel adoption. There's a gender gap for the indoor air pollution impact, and there's a comparative gap like minimum cross-country analysis of India's indoor air pollution policies. There, what our research objectives were: equity assessment, like examine based on caste and class, and disparities and resilience in indoor air pollution exposure. Then we studied the policy evaluation. We studied about barriers, like barrier analysis. What are the barriers in it? We studied the gender study, and then we studied about the policy design. And our key research observation was disparity, that how do caste and class shape the indoor air pollution exposure, and what are the outcomes and resilience, what are the barriers like factors hinders the clean fuel adoption, then the intervention by the schemes that are run by the government, which is PMUV, Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, what they call it, and then the gender, how policies address women and disproportionate in indoor air pollution burden, and the comparisons, like what can India draw from global best practices. This is our methodology. It's a convergent parallel mixed methodology. We did literature review. We did a quantitative research, which is of 385 people took part in, and the qualitative research, in which 97% take part in. And then we studied this, and all these things were generated, the 2024 to December 2024. Then we analyzed the results based on statistical analysis, and then we have the recommendations and conclusions. And this is the demography of the profile of the respondents. Just to brief, we have government and regulatory authority people from them, and then we had household representatives, then we have clean energy advocates and environmental organizations. Also we had healthcare professionals, then academic and policy analysts, and then human rights and social justice organizations, and their job profile, their income group, their age, their work experience, religion, and their caste. Most probably, on a higher level, the caste was general, OBC, SC, and ST. So results from the demographic analysis that we got, if you see in the figure 2, the age distribution of respondents are highly between 30 to 50. And if we talk about the knowledge of indoor air pollution among people were high from the respondents. And then if we see the stakeholder composition by work experience, we see there are high number of government and regulatory authority people. And then we had like healthcare professionals and academicians and policy analysts. We talk about the results of the demographic analysis of respondents. So if we see that a male and female proportion between the government and regulatory were higher than the male, but if we go with the household representative, the woman tends to be more in the respondents as compared to men, and similarly in the other groups. And if we talk about the net income, higher the income, more the awareness, lesser the income, less or no awareness that we found out. And if we talk about the caste versus the awareness of indoor air pollution health effects, awareness of air pollution by the health effects by caste is the general caste have more awareness of indoor air pollution as SC, ST have, and the OBC sits in between. And if you talk about the level of education between the awareness of indoor air pollution, no formal education, less awareness. Higher the education, higher the awareness. So if you see if the person or the population is postgraduate, they have high awareness of indoor air pollution. So education level makes a significant I would say parameter in this thing. And if we talk about the sources of information of indoor air pollution, internet, social media is the main source of information majorly that people get. After that is school and colleges that they get an idea or they heard from, and then the TV, radio, at least for the government agencies and academic journals, as they really read. People are less read those things. So perceived responsibility of indoor air pollution among our respondents, I believe that people think that they are how do you say, they think that it's their responsibility to tackle the indoor air pollution, as it's not the outside, it's inside. Then they say it's the government policy or government's responsibility to take care of that in terms of policies and all. And similarly less with municipality and then NGOs. And if you talk about the personal and or family friends affected by indoor air pollution, so the results are 78% think that yes, it affects, and only 22% think that the indoor air pollution does not affect them. So perception of indoor air pollution on health, people think that yes, they are seeing health impact of indoor air pollution on their health or in the health of their family. Perception of government on indoor air quality policies, majority thinks that the regulations which are weak and which are there, the policies are not as effective as they could. And if we talk about the barriers of implementing indoor air qualities and policy, so there are economic and awareness for this thing. So people are not aware, and highly if people are aware, there's an economic barrier that actually causing them to have the policies in place. And if we talk about the influence of air quality strategies, the government have high influence but less implementation effectiveness. On the other hand, corporate have different point of view. They have less influence, but their implementation effectiveness is on a higher side. And if we talk about the expected trends in the future, like in the future of indoor air quality efforts, health risk could be minimized if indoor air quality is improved. If the policies are strong with the tech, and it's a best case scenario. Worst case is no policy, and in the middle, if we have like a weak policy and it is market driven, it's likely to cause immediate results, I would say. So best case scenario is high policy with tech can improve indoor air quality and reduce the health risk. So it's about the chart. If you see directly, justifies it. If high income, adoption rates are higher, low income, adoption rates are lower. If we talk about perceived and actual health impacts of risk of indoor air quality, people perceive that respiratory issues they feel with the indoor air quality if it's bad, and then the cardiovascular disease they might get. And also on the third thing, they think, the third, I would say the third pillar, they think the asthma also get worsen, or maybe asthma is one of the things that they say, oh, the indoor air quality is not good, so people might get, or their asthma might get worse. It's from the results that we got. And it's based on the home size. The greater the home size, less indoor air pollution exposure. Smaller the house, larger the exposure. And if we talk about adoption rates indoor air quality, what people generally take, like most of the time people are going for the air purifiers for the indoor air quality, and then they think about ventilation could play a role. And on the third, they think that if we use non-toxic cleaning agents, that would be highly, I would say, it will help them to have better indoor air quality. And if they have plants, they can maintain their good air quality exposure inside the indoors. And if we talk about the caste-based variation, general population, like the general caste have the high indoor air quality adoption rate, where OBC has less. And then if you go down, 35% with the SC and 30% with the ST. And similarly, if we go about the education level, lesser the education, lesser the adoption, higher the education, higher the adoption of indoor air quality. And if we go with the graph, if we go without policies, 20 to 40% increase we might gonna see post 2030. If we go with the policies, 30 to 50% reduction we can see. So the red line shows without policies going higher, the green line shows with policies we can manage, or how do you say, we can decrease or reduce the indoor air pollution with this thing. And this is the correlation between knowledge, attitude, and practice. So it justifies it that if you have a knowledge, you have good attitude, and if you have knowledge, you have good practice as well in order to put in the place for better indoor quality. And if it is less, highly likely the result that you won't be able to put those things in place. So hypothesis testing, we have like 4 hypotheses. One was that caste and class significantly influence indoor air quality pollution in the exposure and access to clean energy, weak policy enforcement, and socio-cultural belief and education levels, addressing indoor air pollution through a social justice framework. All the hypotheses are supported and retained. Details are here. What type of test we concluded? And we talk about the hypothetic results graphs. So a lower caste have high exposure of indoor air pollution, and economic bears is a straight line. So yeah, there's an economic behavior. And if we talk about education, higher the education, more the awareness, less indoor air pollution. Lower the education, higher the exposure, and yeah, it just defines it properly. And this is one of the case studies that I would like to talk about. That in Bihar, biomass used in Dalits and Adivasi holds house, which is because the main issue is they are high dependent on biomass due to economic barriers. Impact, Dalit and Adivasi women and children face severe health risk. What could be the target policy? Need for targeted LPG distribution and financial aid. Similarly, in Delhi slums and Mumbai slums, they are class divided, poor ventilation, low income, and they need to improve urban planning and targeted subsidized slum dwellers. Similarly, in Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and Kerala, we have like similar type of things, that what are the key issues of them, and which people are getting impacted, like which social group, and how the policy can help them. And if I talk about the conclusions, limitations, and future research, our study reveals a strong intersection between caste, class, and energy access in shaping indoor air pollution exposure. Marginalized groups such as SC, ST, households with the highest exposure, and due to symmetric inequalities and limited to clean energy, women and children are the bear disproportionate health impacts. Recommendation would be to have multi-stakeholder collaboration among policymaker, industry, civil society, and communities. And I would like to say that the limitations of our studies would be cross-sectional design limit, understanding the long-term resilience and behavioral change. And our research do not fully capture intersecting dimensions such as gender, disability, migration of shaping indoor air quality dimensions. Future research could be like conduct long-term cohort longitudinal studies that will link to indoor air quality, because we have like for 1 year, it could be for many years, and with many branch and many other aspects of class. And we say we have to develop a gender and sensitive and community-led clean energy initiatives. We can use technologies like sensor and data analytics for real-time monitoring and adapting governance. Recommendations further are like for marginal population, empower communities through awareness and participation for collective behavior. Government and regulatory focus on regulatory enforcement and policy design. And the next, industry might also have to drive the innovation. Civil society can bridge grassroots action, policy reform. Academic can have generate evidence, framework, and equity, and private sector can help them in implementation. And authors, acknowledgements for the authors and interns that helped us put these things. Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. We will now go to the last one in this session, entitled The Evolution and Impact of Free-to-Play Gaming, Business Models, Revenue Trends, and Player Experiences. I would like now to invite the presenter to share the slides, if you have the slides.
Yes, of course.
Please go ahead.
Are you able
Yeah.
to see my screen?
There it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
However,
so
we
much.
cannot see you.
Yeah, just a second. Is it okay now? Are you able to see?
Yes, we can see you.
Perfect. So, I hope now it's all good.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see the slide and we can see you as well.
Okay,
Go ahead.
perfect. So, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nico Bujulova, and today I will be presenting on the evolution and impact of free-to-play gaming, and more so the business models, revenue trends, and player experiences. In 2014, Candy Crush Saga, which is a mobile puzzle game that is completely free to play and play generated an estimated of $1.07 billion in revenue. However, the paradox is that these free to play generating games are generating massive profits, and this is at the heart of the literature review that I have presented. The gaming industry has from then evolved from a $35 billion market in 2007 to approximately $187.7 billion in 2024. That represents more than a five-fold growth in less than 2 decades. The primary driver of this explosive growth has been free-to-play games, which currently dominate global industry revenues. This presentation synthesizes the existing literature on free-to-play gaming, examining the evolution of business models, the mechanisms through which these games generate revenue, and how players are experiencing and understanding how these systems work. The analysis is framed within broader theoretical discussions of platform capitalism, surveillance capitalism, and the platform society. The research question and its significance. So this central question is guiding the literature review and operating on multiple levels. So first we have the economic scale, because as I said, the gaming industry is approaching around $200 billion annually, which is way larger than the film and music industries combined. These platforms are engaging billions of users daily, making them among the most significant forms of digital interactions in contemporary society. The second thing is that free-to-play games are representing what scholars have identified as a new form of capitalism. For example, Nick Shurinik's concept of platform capitalism is describing it as a system where companies generate profit not by selling products directly to their users, but by extracting, analyzing, and monetizing the data they're generating on these platforms. And in this framework, players are not merely consumers, but also producers generating valuable behavioral data with every single interaction. The third thing is that there exists a significant gap in the existing literature. While research has addressed macroeconomic dimensions of platform capitalism, empirical studies examining how these mechanisms are experienced and understood by individual players and industry professionals, and this still remains relatively limited. This gap has implications for policy development and regulatory responses. The last aspect, which is the social relevance, extends further that digital platforms influence public discourse, contribute to economic inequality, and operate through mechanisms that many users do not fully comprehend. This literature review runs and aims to synthesize current knowledge about these practices and to identify areas that require further investigation. The next thing I would like to discuss are the business models. So, what we know traditionally, which is the play-to-play model, requires players to play for a game before getting access to it. However, this model has historically been the industry standard, but this is not the case anymore. The payment provides access to the entire game, including all content, features, and updates with no additional costs for in-game purchases. Researchers such as Tomic in 2017 and Howard in 2019 have documented how this model builds trust among players as the upfront payment is received as a guarantee of quality and completeness. However, the free-to-play model emerged in the late 1990s and early 2000s when Asian massively multiplayer online games became the selling virtual goods without requiring upfront payments. A pivotal moment occurred in 2007 when Facebook opened to third-party developers, and this led to the proliferation of free-to-play games on social media. By 2010, gaming had become the most popular application category on Facebook, with 100 million unique players active in the top 10 games alone. Throughout the 2010s, free-to-play became more dominant as a model, and it has been driven by new game genres, user-created content, and novel revenue generation strategies. Free-to-play games monetize through several mechanisms. The first one is microtransactions, which involve small in-game purchases for virtual goods, and this can be both like cosmetic items and functional advantages. In-game advertisements provide revenue when players view promotional content. Perhaps most significantly, these games employ what Haddon and colleagues in 2024 termed the deceptive design features, which specifically are engineered to encourage spending through psychological manipulation. The literature is identifying both advantages and disadvantages of each of the models. Pay-to-play games often demonstrate higher quality and build player loyalty, but the initial cost deters potential players, particularly given, the free alternatives, while free-to-play games achieve larger player bases through accessibility, but only 1 to 5% of players typically become the paying customers. Despite this low conversion rate, the model remains highly profitable due to intensive monetization of high-spending players, and researchers, including Costas and Ben in 2022 and Meg and colleagues in 2021, have documented how developers analyze player data to specifically tailor and offers and promotions effectively, which is then maximizing the revenue potential. However, this model raises significant concerns. For example, developers may prioritize monetization over balanced gameplay, which creates what the literature is terming as pay-to-win mechanisms that are frustrating the players of these games that are not paying. Um, Yeah, so the next thing I'm going to discuss is industry and data. The gaming industry has experienced remarkable growth since emerging in the 1970s. The market has grown to $35 billion by 2007 and has expanded to 137.9 billion by 2018. Global revenues have reached approximately 184 billion in 2023 and 187.7 billion in 2024, with projections indicating that 205 billion by 2026 will be generated. Geographic variations in revenue distributions are notable. For example, in 2017, Asian free-to-play revenues reached $11.2 billion that are compared to 1.4 billion for pay-to-play, which is a ratio that is nearly 8 to 1. In Europe, the ratio was 4.5 to 1, and in North America, 3.3 to 1. These figures, documented by Clearfield International in 2018, are demonstrating that free-to-play is now globally dominating. The literature is establishing surveillance as a common phenomenon in video games. Whitson in 2013 noted that free-to-play games revenue streams gave rise to surveillance-based business models that are dependent on collecting and selling the customer's data. Bonenfant and colleagues in 2023 documented how mobile games collect extensive data through players' devices, with this information consolidated by data brokers powering what they termed a lucrative economic sector. The scope of data collection is extensive. According to Crystal and Speakersman in 2016 and Rise and colleagues in 2018, games can access personal details including name, gender, email, location, address, and search history. The data collection process begins when users accept terms of service, as YS Sikora and colleagues documented in 2017. A critical finding concerns three-party data sharing. Privacy policies often state that user data is only used for game operations. However, research by Bonenfant and colleagues in 2023 and Mirstart and Tjostheim in 2021 revealed that third parties use this data for other purposes. Studies are indicating that a single free-to-play mobile game can include more than 18 third-party services on average. These third parties may share collected data with additional companies without any player knowledge or permission. Mobile game developers' primary revenue sources are advertising and microtransactions, both dependent on data collection, as Wheatstone documented in 2019. Developers provide players' personal data to advertisement companies under the facade of personalized advertising, enabling access to sensitive information. Research on player experiences reveals complex and sometimes contradictory findings. Alha and colleagues in 2018 conducted qualitative research with high-spending players and found out that while they did perceive the free-to-play models as generally unproblematic and even ethical, these same players were aware of problems, including the paywalls, pay-to-win mechanisms, and the aggressive monetization tactics. For paying players, spending had become normalized, with the process described as more spontaneous than purchasing traditional games. Most high spenders viewed themselves as sensible consumers, while acknowledged that described what they described as an exciting vice. Most recent research that was done by Rastogi in 2025 found that players generally preferred cosmetic-based monetization and battle passes, while considering loot boxes and play-to-win mechanisms unfair and unethical. Although aggressive monetization may boost short-term revenue, players who perceive monetization processes as fair are significantly less likely to make repeated purchases. Players with positive attitudes focus on fairness of optional purchases and, with the business models perceived as working best when playing and paying are not systematically linked. Research by Zenol and colleagues in 2020 identifies aggressive monetization as a primary cause of player fatigue. On the other hand, Agueri and colleagues in 2025, along with Hofaker and colleagues in 2016 and Suford in 2014, found that battle passes and cosmetic items were generally well accepted by the players. A significant finding across the literature concerns the knowledge gap regarding data collection. Players appear to be dramatically underestimating the extent of data collection and its economic value. Younger players in particular have normalized surveillance, viewing constant data collection as an expected component of digital interactions. The literature suggests that qualitative approaches are more suitable for understanding the player's experiences and perspectives. Lastly, the theoretical lenses. Three interconnected theoretical frameworks were informing this analysis. First one, Nick Schrinek's concept of platform capitalism, which was developed in 2017 and provides primarily analytical framework. Schrinek observed that following the 2008 financial crisis, capitalism developed in a directly centered upon extracting and using data as a new raw material. He defines platforms as a new business model capable of extracting and then controlling immense amounts of data and data as information that something happened. Second, Shoshana Zuboff's surveillance capitalism, articulated in 2019, examines behavioral dimensions where Schrinek's focus on structural aspects. Surveillance capitalism transforms personal experiences into data which companies collect, process, and sell as predictions of future behavior. These prediction products inform targeted advertising and influence consumer behavior. Third, Van Dyck and the Walls Platform Society framework from 2018, which elaborates on how platforms operate as interconnected ecosystems. They identified three key processes: datafication, selection, and commodification. Lastly, critical analysis. So the research is clearly demonstrating that free-to-play games embody core characteristics of platform capitalism. These games rely on data extraction rather than traditional sales and employ psychological manipulation techniques that are derived from behavioral science and benefit from network effects that create barriers to exit. The theoretical frameworks of Schrinek, Zuboff, and Van Dyck and colleagues prove applicable to understanding free-to-play gaming as a manifestation of the broader transformations in digital capitalism. However, the existing literature presents that there are still notable limitations that have to be addressed. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much for this presentation.
Thank you.
That would be the conclusion of the presentations for this session. Now we will go to the question and answer. There's already been an exchange that I would like to make you aware of between an attendee and Kumari. This is how it went. Given the reluctance in higher education to fully embrace AI, often due to privacy concerns and at times academic inertia, how can transparency, explainability in digital platforms be leveraged to build genuine trust among students and faculty? And Kumari's response is that thank you for the question. For the same, universities need to provide clear view with context of accessible policies by knowing them, know how they collect authentic data, and also introduce dashboards for interaction AI systems as well as faculty training will also work. Exchange continues. Thank you for highlighting the importance of accessible policies, transparent data practices, and faculty training. I appreciate the emphasis on dashboards as a way to make AI systems more interactive and understandable. I have a follow-up question. Building on that, How do you see universities overcoming the practical challenges of implementing these dashboards and training programs, especially given faculty reluctance or concerns about privacy, so that transparency truly translates into trust among students and staff? Response from Kumari was, I think before the dashboard, we require a proper technological literacy and awareness campaigns for the same. We can also introduce faculty with some basic knowledge about the cyber laws and data privacy. Interesting exchange. I will now go to the first question from the floor. Dr. Joel Domingo has his hand up. Please go ahead, Dr. Domingo.
Thank you, and thank you for the presenters, because this session on technology is one that continues to pique my interest, having been and continue to be both a gamer and entrepreneurial in those respects. I have questions for all the presenters, but let me just coalesce them into two questions, and that the presenters will respond accordingly. The first one is specific to Kumari's presentation. I'll ask them all first. So Kumari, thank you for your presentation. I apologize if I missed this part of the presentation because my computer was sort of acting up. But your research was done on 160 IT sector employees in particular, and you got the results that you did. Did you consider broadening that audience to non-IT sector employees? And if, in fact, that could have been done, would you suspect a different result and viewpoint, given that, you know, the IT folks already have a perhaps penchant for technology in the first place? So that's my first question. I'll let you prepare that. And then my second question is of Nicole and Hua, and you can answer in the order that you choose. Nicole, first of all, let me just say thank you for sharing Mario Brothers. I love that game. Spent many hours playing that game. Love the slides. But given that gaming is such a big industry, whom do you see can be responsible for enacting the guardrails to ensure that this data gathering is not exploitative and gathering data on unsuspecting, users? And the same could be said for entrepreneurial organizations. Who protects that? Is it the organizations themselves? Is it the users? How can we ensure that sort of safety mechanism? And both of you can answer that in the order that you choose. So first, Kumari, please.
Kumari, if you're with us, I think you're with us, but yes, you've unmuted. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the question. Actually, it's a very relevant question. First of all, I just want to say that why I had chose this IT sector for the my research work, basically because you know very well that we are basically are the front end for using the AI, but the back end are basically the IT people who are basically working with it. And the utility of AI is basically better known for them. So that is the reason I had chose, and because of some limited time period, that is the reason. But obviously, we can also go for the non-IT sector. Basically, we can go for the education sector. We can basically go for some faculties member. We can also basically go to the those people, because nowadays everyone is using AI, and somehow the short videos the young peoples are also seeing. The youngsters are totally based on the video type of things for their education. We can also go to the Gen Z population. Basically, they are more tech savvy people. So because of this reason, we can say that the non-IT sector can maybe give us other result, but because of the lack of information of the basic, like the deep knowledge about the AI, this is the reason I had chose the IT people. But we can also go for some health sector, in health sectors, people who are basically the doctors, nurses, we can also choose as a respondent. We can also use the banking and finance sectors, because nowadays each and everything's are basically dependent on AI. Either it is in the banking, if we'll see the work of the financial analysts, they are also basically working with the AI. The insurance staffs, they are also working with the AI. Even the AI is now even giving, the credit scoring thing. So we can say that definitely in the longer run, if I'll do my work on the AI again, definitely I'll just choose the other sector than IT. I guess
So I guess what I'm hearing then is because AI is a ubiquitous sort of technology that's embedding itself in all of our lives in many different sectors and areas, um, there may not be necessarily a huge difference by industry. Um, and it sounds,
Mhm.
I'm just making an assumption that ultimately it is the humans in the loop that is the nexus by which this mechanism of trust um, can be either elevated or decline. I suspect. So thank you. I appreciate that answer. Um,
Thank you, sir.
Yes. My second question then, Nicole or Hua, either of you, if you wanted to take that, just who builds the safeguards of trust against exploitation internally, the users, the CEOs, perhaps?
So the issue right now is that who takes the responsibility for that is between a few stakeholders. On one hand, we have the users themselves. On one hand, we have, the platform holders. And most of the responsibility is on the game developers and the publishers. The issue as of right now is that there are not clear legislations because so far there has been a lot of public backlash that claims that such games are very similar to gambling. And I do believe that, for instance, in Europe, there should be more GDPR laws that are clearly outlining such games as they become more and more popular, and this becomes a bigger platform in society. For now, we can also say that App Store reviewers and advertisements and rating boards are the ones that also have to make sure that what players are getting is something that is fair. However, I think in general, if we talk about the technological world and how it works right now, it's moving so rapidly that it's really hard for legislative bodies to also move at the same pace and to make sure that, the needed regulations are done on time.
Wow, thank you. It makes me think of the movie Ready Player One, different category, but yet just this resistance or resilience against this corporate sort of control of the world. Fascinating. Hoa, with your entrepreneurial organizations, would you like to take a stab at that? Who builds those guardrails? You mentioned this sort of tension, the challenge between moving forward and
Yeah.
sort of the other things, pressures that take.
Yeah, thanks for your questions. It's really a challenging question in my part. However, because I'm the strategic-based students and it's also my interesting major. So when we're looking at the company, at the entrepreneurial orientations, entrepreneurship sector, when working for the company, we're looking for the result at the end. We're looking for maybe if they increase the market share, will be the market leader or increase the company performance in terms of financial or in terms of the market share. So if we look at that, the company, if we look at that point, the company will take the control in terms of safety for inside the industrial gaming industrial. However, if we are looking at kind of, I heard somewhere like doing business, sometimes we are really practical one. So when we when we are the practical person, we are only looking at the final result, which means the positive outcome results. So if like that, we be put, okay, we will be the market leader in that game industry, and somehow we may not care less for what the user may respond to the gaming. We're just looking at the company result. So it's also kind of very paradox issue between the company and the market user, because the gaming somehow is can be for the children or for the adult or for the retirement elderly. So it's quite a very challenging issue, but the only thing I may take into the consider is we're looking at the ethical issue. So if the leadership, he's the maybe the shareholder within the company, they are more on mindful or more on the thoughtful person. He may consider the parallel, the balance between the company outcome and the market response. So they may balance for business for that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
thank
that's what
you.
am I thinking.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. It really is a challenge and balance this sort of, you want to grow
Yeah,
and beyond the gaming just industry. I mean, any
yeah,
industry, um, who takes that responsibility? So thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Linder, you take the next question, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I have more than one, but I will limit myself to two because I know we only have 10 minutes before the next break. I would like to begin. I'll read both questions and then we can proceed. I'd like to begin hearing from Dr. Lila Montesser. I'm very, very interested in any cultural or religious taboos that might interfere with the scalability of stem cell technology. I ask that because in North America, there is an anti stem cell use movement that is rooted in fundamentalist Christian values. So I have had the great joy of going to Egypt twice. I am very curious to know, in terms of the culture, how this plays out. That's my first question. And my second question is for Professor Shilpi. When you said that the more transparency and explainability increases trust, it made me wonder if that was a good thing. In my understanding of AI, it is an incredibly powerful, subversive, unpredictable, glorious, and potentially destructive technology. And so I have some doubts about whether it should be trusted. Um, Perhaps it should be used and harnessed and leveraged. I'm not sure it should be trusted. So I wonder if you can speak to this. Is trust a good thing in such a technology? But if we could start with Dr. Montesser, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am happy and proud to be in this excellent session on resilience in technology and innovation. And happy to see you, Dr. First, good morning, but here in Egypt, you are night now. I will sleep after.
It's late at night.
I will sleep. I will go to sleep after we finish this marvelous session. First, before I respond to your question about stem cells, I have to thank Dr. Shilpi, Dr. Kumari Shilpi, for her excellent presentation about AI transparency. You see, I want to ask her opinion about what we learned from her marvelous study. This is my question to Dr. Shin. for Dr. Nicole. Her presentation is marvelous, but lacks some beautiful figures of the games. For stem cells, you see, I like stem cells too much, but all my deep experience on animal models and opinions, you see, which I present, all this is my opinions and viewpoints about application of stem cells. In our university, they not like to apply on patients.
Aha.
So all my experience on experimental animal models, preclinical, not clinical. And what I present, this is opinions, perspectives. This is my viewpoints. I start with platelet-rich plasma, which is rich in growth factors. This is the only thesis I applied on patients. This thesis started on 2013, ended on 2016 to present a very excellent result for this thesis with success rate on the patients of osteoarthritis of the knee joints. The success rate was 92.8% for the first time in Egypt. And I can send for you this. I documented this excellent thesis in many papers. I can send for you. But I like stem cells too much. Too much.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that answer.
And I am glad to see you, Dr. Linda.
in virtual person, not just by email. And now perhaps we can shift to Professor Shilpi for this fundamental question that touches all of the presentations today. Should we really be trusting AI as much as we seem to want to?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for asking this question. Basically, definitely, we cannot trust AI directly in context of it is only a technology. But obviously, AI have some benefits which it is providing. Like it is not biased. Definitely, it is not biased. Like they avoid biasness. Sometime not exactly in the sensitive area like in the healthcare and some legal procedure we cannot directly connect with the AI and we can believe, but somehow it also providing us accuracy and consistent result, but it should be not before testing. So we should test the data quality as well, because definitely result is also based on the data. And obviously in my study I also explained that transparency is very important, that how AI is working. So blindly trust is not possible, but somehow we can see this, that people are trusting AI so that it is indulged in each and every area and each and every sector. Definitely why it should not be trusted, because sometimes it is also providing some wrong recommendation. It is not authentic as well. And
Mm-hmm.
it is sometimes it is not able to judge the emotions, emotions and values. And country wise, the legal procedure is also not, we cannot totally blindly believe on AI. And there is also, it's a technological thing, so there is a privacy risk as well. Sometimes your data can also be misused and hacked. But if there will be a proper transparency and explainability, how it used, how the output works, and ethical AI, if will work with, and if will work with the proper data privacy and proper strong laws, if there will be, definitely it is helpful. But not in each and every extent. We should always think before sharing insensitive things over the AI, because who is basically hacking it, and who is basically using it, and basically where it is going, that is a very big question still. But
Mm-hmm.
somehow, for the little bit things, for example, for the marketing process, if we see, we can trust on some of the AI videos, because it is attractive, as well as people are able to, it's eye catching. So, for the smaller information point of view, for giving knowledge and for making the life easy for the people, like for example, if we are, my very respected professor asked this question, that how we can indulge it in universities and all. So, for the little bit process, like for scheduling, for making the making the class schedules, for the chatbots, it is okay, it's fine. But if it is about 100% rely and totally based on the AI, it's a very big question still. But I think so, okay, later on, by some years, we are basically reached to that area, that extent, sorry, to that extent where we are totally able to trust on AI.
Mm-hmm.
But technology, privacy, internet availability, and utility, and the knowledge and awareness is a very big concern still. But if we are basically able to implement it properly, I think so we are able to trust on it. Thank you so
Wonderful,
much.
wonderful answer. Thank you. That takes us right to time. Dr. Demeke, over to you.
Yes, thank you. I would like to say a sincere thank you to everybody who did make wonderful presentations. Thank you for making us think, and we have a lot. You've given us a lot to chew on, and just gratefulness and for this experience. We will have our next session starting at 1 10 minutes past 1 after lunch. Hope we will all reconvene and continue this wonderful journey.
For
Thank you.
those of us who are having lunch, some of us are having dinner, and some of us are going to sleep.
Yeah.
That's true. That
Yes,
is
thank
true.
you very much.
That's true.
Good afternoon, good night.